Hello and welcome everyone. This is going to be an NIO trade breakdown. It's going to be a little different. I'm going to be pausing the recording of the video, and I'm also going to be showing you some prints here. I'm going to be stopping like I did previously on the tape and pointing out specific prints and our expectations based upon those prints. So here we go. So right before 9 a.m. we ended up getting these significant ass prints at 55. These were way above its print personality that it was showing during the pre-market. I would even say 5-6 times over its print personality. So my expectation, or what that tells me about the market maker, is that that individual has the intentions to build. You print that much during the pre-market, it really shows that you have a lot more to acquire and accumulate during the open. So setting up two scenarios based upon these prints right here. One, we instantly get our pullback, maybe a slight little pull up at the open, pull up bar, and then we get our pullback. So instantly get our pullback to 54. It's our first level. This much at 55 really should be at least a $2 pullback. I would say $2.50 pullback just from the amount that they printed. But also we need the supporting prints to tell us that that's how much we're going to pull back. So we're going to need to see bid prints at 54.50, 54, and below, right? So we need the supporting prints to show that we're going to be able to pull back. So that's one case scenario, is we instantly get the pullback and then we get our bids and then we make a trade based upon those. Or this becomes an exception and it runs above. So it opens and then we run to 55, 50s, 56, 56, 50, 57. In that case, we can't chase it long, knowing that this market maker showed us that they have the intentions to pull this back and build. We have to read that as them setting up retail. So we would be waiting for a number one short in terms of if it became an exception and pushed at the open. So have those two case scenarios already outlined in my head going into the market open. And we're about second bar here when the recording starts. And we didn't get any bid prints at 54.50. We just had some really nice off level 0.75 there. This is what you would have taken instantly at the open if you were a higher percent trader and you knew this was going to pull back from 55. But personally, if you're a newer trader, I would wait for those bid prints to give you confirmation of that pullback to come in order for you to go short. So now we're just looking for the bid prints to tell us short trade. So coming to 54 here. And then we ended up getting the 54 bids there. And as you can see, our instant reaction to those 54 bids was 54.01. So really this burst right after. It came in almost instantly after, and it was buying, right? So we have the 54 bids that tell us, okay, the stock's going to go lower than 54, most likely 53. But our instant reaction tell us that it's going to pull up first before we end up getting our trigger back down to satisfy these prints, right? Overall, 55 in the morning, that market maker told us that he needs to pull back at least $2. Conservative, really probably $2.50. And then we open in the market, we get our dollar pullback pretty instantly. And now we have 54 bids. That confirms that we still have more room to the downside. So the overall game plan is the pullback, and we want to take this short. But this person right here, they stepped in immediately after the 54 bids. And this shows that we're going to get a quick pull up. I'll be looking anywhere from 50 to 60 cents and then maybe to that print line, and then looking for a trigger back down to those 54 bids. It's exactly how I would read that. It's like, okay, 54 bids tells us we need to go lower, but the instant reaction says we're going to get a quick pull up. Buy reaction at 54.10. Expecting a quick pull up here. Both the 55 ask and the 54 bids, they go hand in hand from what the market maker's intentions are. It might be confusing for some people, but Rich teaches that perfectly in his courses. Some 54.18 ask there, so that confirms our ability to get a pull up. Those are pretty much continuation from the reaction we saw. So pulling up now as we speak. Would not mind pushing up to that print line and triggering down. 50 plus cent pull up here I'm okay with, and then we take a trigger back down to 54 again, and then we reevaluate what comes in at 54. But if we push up here and we ended up getting we continue to get more buying like this and continue to push up higher and higher to 55, then we have to reevaluate how big our pull up's going to be, right? Based on the reaction, how much at 54, I expected a 50 plus cent pull up, but if we continue to get more of a reaction here and we get 54 ask and then reaction above that, I would expect the pull up to be higher, possibly 55. Which we didn't get any ask at 54.50. We did get some nice off level, but no ask at 54.50. So trigger down here I'd be okay with. Some nice selling above 54.50 there. A trigger down here, and then you'd have to start with 54 because that's where your bid prints are. And then you have to reevaluate what we get at 54. Should it go lower than 54? Yeah, really should hit that print line closer to 53, but just knowing how much was at 54, most likely we're going to print again. So we're going to have to reevaluate our short. So I personally did take this trigger down, just knowing that we had the selling below and knowing the stock needs to pull back to at least 53, really 52.50 from what the market maker at 55 told us. So it just all fits in well in terms of the puzzle. Took this trigger under 54.50. My stop would really be that print line above 54.70-ish. If it came back and tested, that's where my stop would be. Continuation here. Now we're coming in 54. Now we get to see if we print more bids at 54 or we just blow past, and we'll look at a reaction to it. So 54 there. That ended up being bids on my personal trading computer because I have a separate recording and trading computer. So that ended up being bids. It shows below the bid on this monitor for some reason. But now let's see reaction. Some decent selling reaction. Nothing above print personality to show that we're going to continue. I mean, it's nice. It's decent. But nothing that's above. And in this case that we got 54 bids again, I would be, in the back of my mind, I'd be okay, I have to set my spot to get out of the rest of my position because I know this can pull up like it previously did from 54 bids, right? I'm not going to give up my 50 cent, half of my 50 cent trade here because the bids told me that it needs to pull up, and it already pulled up once, so I know it's personality at that level. So I'm expecting a quick little pull up here. If it breaks at my certain spot, I would get out, which was 54.20 for me. I was out of the rest of that short, but I would have scaled out when I saw those 54 bids. I would just scale out the rest of my position at 54.20. Not expecting too much of a pull up. I would say I was thinking maybe 30 cents would be max, but nonetheless, we expected the pull up. But I mean, ideally here, after those 54 bids, when we get this quick pull up, I'm looking for just some more significant off-level selling that really shows that we have the timing to break 54 now, which I don't really necessarily see. It's just kind of, I wouldn't say a mix, but it's just decent selling. Nothing that shows me that it's going to break 54 now. I want to see above print personality off-level selling, like at 0.17 here. That's just above print personality, a burst of like 15, right? Like really stand out that we're going to break 54 here. And really got the opposite. We got 0.20 there. Larger pull up than I expected, anticipated, but that's okay. And we're setting up in a volume pattern on a dip here, so we've got to keep in mind that. And we know when we have these volume dips, and our bars as well are not consolidating, but they're getting smaller and smaller. You can expect a slight consolidation here and then a bar soon. So just have that in the back of my mind. Coming at 54.50. Order there on the ask. Getting that volume pattern setting up. $54.50 ask. So that shows that our pull up is going to be a little larger. See what our reaction from there is. So from the 54 bids, we have 54 bids twice. It looks like our pull up from the 54 bids is going to be more than 50 cents, and that 54.50 confirmed that. So expecting a quick little pullback here from the 54.50 ask, and then continuation back up to that print line. Unfortunately, I would not take that down just because we had aspirants at 54. I would not have taken that trigger. And I don't really see the off-level selling as well. And we expect a quick pullback from the ask, right? So overall, the 54 twice on the bid side has told us that we need that we're going to have at least a price target of 53, but we're currently building for that at the current moment. We haven't had a significant enough of a pull up based on the bids there at 54 twice, and now 54.50 shows us that we have the ability to have a higher of a pull up. Again, on this little pullback from 54.50, I'm not seeing the selling necessary for this to break 54. And we're entering a volume pattern as well. So looking for a breakout bar here soon. Or just a breakout out of this volume pattern. So let's break this down real quick on our heads as this is consolidating a little bit and it's entering a volume pattern. 55 told us that it really needs a pullback at least of $2 from how much they showed during the pre-market. They pulled it at the open. They instantly pulled it back. So 54.60 there, real nice ask. That really shows us we have the ability to break that print line right there with great volume. If we wax here a little bit. I'm going to pause this real quick and break down what we have so far. So 55 ask in pre-market told us that they need to build and pull back at least $2, really $2.50. We instantly got our pullback in the morning to 54, and then we got our 54 bids there, and then we ended up getting a 50-cent pull-up and no ask at 54.50 the first time to show that we were going to get continuation to the upside, and then we ended up getting our trigger down, which we took, and we ended up getting more bids at 54, and then we weren't expecting this large of a pull-up, but we stayed disciplined, and we knew that the pull-up from the 54 bids was a possibility given our rules, and then we took off the rest of our positions, and we were looking for the short back down to 54, but we ended up getting 55.50 ask, which told us that this pull-up is going to be a lot higher, and this is the pull-up that is from the 54 bids, right? So that 54.50 told us that this pull-up is going to have more continuation to the upside, and then we ended up getting that nice off level above 54.50, and now we're pushing up. So overall, the stock does need a pullback overall to 53, but in the shorter term, it's pushing to 55 currently for that market maker to build on that 54 bid position that they're showing. So now we're pushing to 55. So 55 ask there, and that is probably twice as much as we saw in the morning. So 55 ask above print personality again, probably twice that what we saw in the pre-market. So that confirms that this market maker needs to build, right? They print even more during the open than they did in the pre-market. So right now, I'm going to be looking for reaction. If we get off-level reaction that is above print personality and it's just now money time reaction and the volume keeps waxing, then we'll evaluate that. But right now, with what we're seeing right now, my mind, I'm thinking of a number one short trade back down to 54 and then to get us to 53. So the 54 bids and these 55 ask do not contradict each other. 55 tells us that he has intentions to pull us back to 53 from the sheer amount of buying that he has for that person to build on their position. And that 54, those bids, give us the confirmation that this is going to pull back. Now we just need the proper trigger and we just need the proper timing. Now we're going to look at our reaction here. Has been dismal. No real off-level buying above print personality, so that we're going to get continuation. I'll be setting up for a short trade. Number one short trade here. With I'll start with a price target of 54, but really should get to 53. Just take level by level. Some decent buying there, 0.75, but really not enough. Nothing that stands out. That burst really doesn't stand out. That's at print personality, if anything. Again, at 0.98, that really doesn't stand out. That's at print personality, if anything. Looking for above, see what we get. Again, nothing above in terms of ask. That's above print personality. That shows us that we're going to need a continuation in the push. Some really nice selling under. Just looking for that proper trigger down. I'm going to have my order right here under this second print line, probably 0.60, 70-ish area. I want that real trigger, real confirmation, and that trigger is going to be right through that print line. Some nice selling. I'm willing to risk about 20 cents, so that was your trigger right there. That's where we would be in this right now. Real conservative price target is 54, but we know this really should get to 53, if not 52.50. But we'll manage this at a level at a time. And we're still in this, no reason to panic at all. Lovely trade, trading smooth right now. I know this could be a little confusing to some, how the 55 ask told us it needs to pull back, and then the 54 bids. I mean, it can be confusing if you're new, but the way Rich breaks it down and explains it to us in classes, we see this happen time and time again, how they fit perfectly with one another. And this NIO is a perfect example of that. And it ended up coming back to 55 to print again to show that they were going to build even more. And then 54 bids told us that, gave us confirmation of lower. We ended up getting a beautiful trigger off 55, and now we're up about $1 on a smooth trade. Now it's just trade management. some more 54 there. Again, we know how 54 is acted, so we could get another possible quick pull up here. Have to be mindful of that, but I'd be a lot more doubtful of this pull up here. It's nice 0.80 there. So just have to be mindful. Again, we know how that level was played. It's always, I mean, twice now it's given a pull up, so I'm going to respect that and possibly get another pull up here. And not given that, I'll probably scale out of my position, not give up profit. So, but this is just trade management at this point. Overall, thank you guys for listening. That's kind of all I had for that example. This is kind of over with, but if you want to go back and look at NIO during the day, this was July 1st. You can see how large the pullback was. We ended up getting the pullback to 52.50, which was our minimal price target. These price targets of 54 and 53 are pretty conservative. They're just me taking level by level, making sure that we get the proper selling to get to our overall price target from what the 55 has told us. And you can go back and just look how much it did end up pulling back during the day, and you can really attest that to how much was at 55 twice, right? Once in the pre-market and once during the market. So thank you all for listening, and I hope you learned a lesson here, and I hope you are able to implement this in your own trading.